Hello, lovely students, and welcome back to English with Teacher Dixon. Today, I want to explore more on the vowel sounds of English language, particularly the diphthongs of English language. Remember what I treated in my previous video, the monophthongs of English language, the description of every single monophthong of English language. So today I want to dwell particularly on the diphthongs, in other words, double vowel sounds. So I have it also here to show you the how to articulate each of them, the position of your tongue through the use of this chart. So I would like you to pay up attention, follow from the beginning to the end. You get to understand the articulation of every diphthong of English language. All right, so we all know that diphthongs are double vowel sounds. That is a combination of two short vowel sounds to make a long sound. So looking at this, you can agree with me that we have arrows in this diagram. So these arrows we have here indicate the position of your tongue when you begin the articulation of a diphthong to the end, right? So judging from what we discussed previously, looking at the whole diagram, we have horizontal lines and vertical lines. The horizontal lines indicate the movement, the part of the tongue involved in the articulation of the sounds. That is to say, if the front part of the tongue is used, then the tongue will be going this way. You have the sound around here. But if the back of the tongue is used, you will have it this way. Then looking at the vertical line, the vertical lines indicate the height of the tongue. I remember the descriptions we have for the height of the tongue, ranging from close or high. We have mid-high, have mid, have mid open, or you call it mid low, then low. As for the height of the tongue. But for the part of the tongue, we only have front, central, and back. So don't forget that. Now, we have 8 diphthongs in English language, and they are indicated here in this chart. We have the A, the I, oi, ear, or, l, and ow. These are the diphthongs of English language. Now, how do we articulate them? And what are the classifications of these diphthongs? Let me begin from the diphthongs that have their movement from different positions to the center of the chart. All right, so let me begin with the ear. The diphthong ear begins from the high front position. High front is the front of the tongue, and this part of the tongue is known as high because when you say any sound at this position, the tongue is raised towards the roof of the mouth. Remember when we considered the monophthongs of English language that all the sounds we had by this part of the chart were described as front sound. Then when you have any sound up here, those are high or close sound. So here is the beginning of the sound. When you want to articulate the sound, you begin from here, which is the close front position. Now, the sound we have here, depending on the monophthongs, is A. So moving from A to the center of the diagram, which is that's the schwa sound. A combination of the two will give you a movement from the high front position to the center, which gives you ear. So that is how we realize the diphthong, ear. Then the next one that is centering is This one, look at the starting point to the middle. So we begin from the front mid position from to the middle where we have the schwa sound, which is So we join the two together to have er, er. All right, another closing sound here is the or sound. Or sound because it begins from the u sound to the schwa sound, which is So we have or. These three sounds are centering diphthongs, because the movement is from different positions to the center. Then we also have closing diphthongs. Closing diphthongs are those ones that make the movement towards the roof of the mouth. As when you articulate a sound and then the tongue moves from a particular position in the mouth towards the roof of the mouth. That means it is a closing diphthong. So looking at the arrows, we have this arrow, we have this one, we have this one, we have this and this. So all of them are closing diphthong because of the movement of the tongue. Now let me begin from this one. This is where we have the R sound, and this is where we have the A sound. So a combination of these two will give us A, A. So the tongue begins from here and roll to this point. Again, you begin by saying A and then glide it into E. So you have A. The next one is from R to A. You have I. Then the next one is from O to A. We have oi. Look at the sound here. So as closing diphthongs, we have A, I, and oi. Then looking at the movement to the back high position of the tongue, we have two other diphthongs, and they include L. When you say L, the tongue moves from the central position where you have the schwa sound to the back high position where you have the sound U. Hence we have L. Again we have R, where we have the sound R. That is the back position, back low position. That's the back low position. The tongue moves from there to the back high position where we have the U sound. Hence we have ow, ow. So these are the 8 diphthongs of English language. So sometimes, especially in higher institution, your lecturer may draw these charts, not label anything. There will be no labeling. Then you, as a student, you'll be demanded to fill in the different diphthongs at their different position. So all you need to know is the position of different sounds here. When you know the sound that begins from here, from this point, you then know the direction of the arrow, because the arrow indicates the end point, whereas this dot indicates the beginning. So knowing that this is where we have the dot and we have the arrow here, up here, you know that the sound glides from here to here. That's how we have I. And here the sound glides from A to E. So we have A. Here it glides from A to R. So we have R. Here it glides from O to E. Hence we have oi. This one glides from E to R. So we have ear. This glides from R to U. So we have L. Here we have U to R. We have or. Then R to U. We have ow. Now let's look at the main classification of diphthongs in English language. Just as I explained using the chart, the diphthongs of English language are divided into two, the centering diphthongs and the closing diphthongs. So the centering diphthongs are those ones in which the tongue makes movements from a certain position to the center. That is why they normally ends in the schwa sound, which is a centric vowel sound, or you can call it a central vowel sound. So we also have the closing diphthongs. Closing, remember the description, close or high, when the tongue is raised towards the roof of the mouth or the hard palate. That is when we can describe it as close. All right, so under the centering diphthongs, we have those sounds ending in the schwa sound, which is such as ear, or. So these three are the centering diphthongs we have in English language. Then for the closing diphthongs, we have up to 5 sounds, and they are further divided into two categories. Those ones ending in A and those ones ending in U. The ones ending in A are A, I, and Oi. And the ones ending in U are O and OW. So you should be able to articulate all these sounds properly. So the sound ear can be seen in the word here, ear, here, and so on. Then the sound can be seen in the word her, the air you breathe, and many more, her. Then can be seen in actual, or. Then A can be seen in fate, late, say, and so on. I can be seen in the word height, and so on. We have oi as in toil, toy, boy. We have o as in no, note, go, slow. We have ow as in cow, bow, mount. So these are the 8 diphthongs of English language. I want to believe you know that classification and the position of the tongue during the articulation. If you have any question concerning this, do well to use the comment section. Thank you for watching this video. I remain Teacher Dixon.